It is time to talk about how your energy is your responsibility. I Something that I really see a lot is moms blaming the reason they have no energy on everything else, blaming it on their kids, everything that they have to do. And here's the thing, if you are feeling drained, if you are feeling stressed out and overwhelmed and fatigued, maybe resentful, it is not your kids, it is not your partner, it is you. Energy leaks is what a lot of people call them. It's not just me. But energy leaks are these places where we are just like leaking energy everywhere. So if you picture a pipe, a water pipe, and it has all of these holes in it, and as the water travels through the pipe, it's leaking out through all of these holes. Well, by the time it gets to the end, we're going to lose that water pressure, right? My husband's a plumber. That's why this idea popped into my head. But by the time it reaches the end, you're going to have a lot of water pressure loss. And it's the same thing in life. When you are saying yes, when you want to say no, when you're overcommitting, when you're people pleasing, when you are constantly in this state of like waiting. I, at the very beginning of my marriage, used to be in this state of like waiting for my husband to pick up the slack and hoping that he would notice the things that needed to be done. And instead of sitting there waiting, all I needed to do was ask for help, because in the waiting, it's also very emotional. If you really think about it, you are constantly thinking about, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I wish that my husband would notice that I need help. And then you, as a mom and a woman, are still carrying that full mental load. And of course, your husband is never going to see what needs to be done unless you open your mouth and you ask. And so these are a lot of the hidden ways that you are leaking energy all over the place, saying yes when you mean no, and giving everything to everyone else. So let's just say, because I want to talk to you about like taking your energy back and taking your power back. But I think one of the biggest things is I want to apply this to an example in life because, as you know, being the boundary queen, I freaking love boundaries. Boundaries are my most favorite thing in the world. And when we start to implement boundaries into our life, we stop leaking our energy all over the place and we are able to release the guilt. So, have you ever had one of those experiences? I feel like this is super common, or maybe it's just like an example a lot of people use, but let's just say you're having movie night with your family. You're really enjoying it, and then you get a phone call, and it's your mom. Let's just say it's your mom. And you're like, like maybe I should answer it. I haven't talked to her in a while, but I don't like, we're in the middle of movie night, and you choose to answer it. And you pick up the phone and you say hello, and you get the like, wow, I finally caught you. You're so busy these days, right? How your mom just to open your phone calls. And then you get maybe this passive aggressive, like, I was just wondering if you even had time to talk to your mother. And before you know it, you're knee deep in a conversation that you never wanted to have. And you're listening to your mom complain about like something that happened at work or whatever. And you're just like nodding along. And you, after you get off the phone, you are not only irritated because it was a waste of time. Let's just say, I don't want to say talking to your mom is like a waste of time, but when it when you have this idea that you don't love it when people call and just complain to you all the time. And let's just say that's a pattern between you and your mom. She likes to call, she likes to complain all the time. You had put a boundary in place so that you could start to protect your energy so you didn't have to listen to her talk all the time or complain all the time. And so now not only are you irritated with her, you're irritated with yourself because you knew what was going to happen and you still chose to pick up the phone. And I want you to realize how much control you actually have in this situation, because I hear some of you saying in your head, like, well, yeah, if I don't pick up, like, my mom's going to be pissed. Okay. And then what? Like, I want you to really look at where you are giving your power away in these situations so that you can take back your energy and take back your power. And so if you're like, well, then my mom's going to be pissed. Okay. And then what? Well, I'm going to have to hear about it at every single family party. Okay. And then what? Well, then things are just going to be like weird and awkward. And like, I really want you to ask yourself, You are a grown adult. Who are you truly going to be in trouble with? Probably no one other than your mom. And if your mom is upset about you putting a boundary in place, that is hers to deal with. That is her stone to carry. If you listen to last week's episode, I believe I talked about putting stones in your backpack and how we need to take some of our stones that are not ours out of our backpack and let other people carry them for themselves. This is one of those situations that I was explaining is it is not your job to keep your mom happy simply by picking up the phone and listening to her complain about shit you never wanted to hear about in the first place. And I do think there is a healthy level of being able to call and vent, but if it's happening every single phone call, so much so that it caused you to put a boundary in place and then you're going back on your own boundary, that is the issue. The issue isn't that you're being a horrible person to your mom. No, it's you are deciding, do I have the capacity for this right now? And if the answer is no, you don't have to answer your phone. But then you choose to answer your phone, and then not only do you feel guilty because now you've stepped away from family movie night, but now you're irritated with yourself because you picked up the phone knowing what was going to happen. So you're irritated with your mom for calling during that time. She probably had no idea. Maybe she knows about movie night, maybe she doesn't, maybe she forgot. But you are the only one to blame for this whole situation that just happened. Do you see this? Are you connecting the dots? That's what I want to know. And I think that a lot of times, especially as women, we are really afraid of getting in trouble. And so I really want you to ask yourself, when you are going to make a choice, a decision in your life to do something differently, and you are afraid of being in trouble, I want you to ask yourself, with who? With who? Who is going to be mad at you for making this decision? And does it matter? Does it really matter if they get mad at you for making this decision? Okay, so we want to flip the script. You are not obligated to answer just because the phone rings. You are not obligated to answer your door just because the doorbell rings. You do not have to explain why you cannot talk. This was actually one of the very first things I started working on in therapy is if I needed to get off the phone with somebody, or I didn't like to have long conversations with people because it turned into situations like this, then very first like boundary I started putting into place was I would pick up the phone and I'd say, "Hey, I have to be on another call in about 10 minutes. What's up?" And I would just preface the phone call with, "My time is limited. This is what I can give you. What's going on? Like, what can I help you with?" Right? And that's where mine started. And then it can carry into if that doesn't always work, or you find yourself constantly like stepping over your own boundary, then it can turn into, "Oh, shoot, one of the kids just fell out back. I've got to go." And you can like hop off the phone, or, "Oh, the kids need me, like I've got to go." You don't have to explain yourself, but for me in the beginning when I was starting to set boundaries around this, that's what felt most comfortable, and so I started doing that first. You don't have to explain. You can just say, "Hey mom, I can't chat right now. I love you," and get off the phone. You do not have to carry her disappointment. Again, that is her own emotion to manage. So go back to last week's episode if you're not picking up what I'm putting down here. Every time you override your own needs to avoid disappointing or upsetting somebody else, you are the one who is paying the price. And if you're always willing to pay the price, at what point do you get to start living your life? If you are always paying the price, at what point do you start living your life? I had to say that louder for the people in the back. This is where your responsibility for your own energy comes in. No one is going to step in and protect you. No one is going to come in and do it for you. Nobody is coming to save you. So stop handing out your energy to people who don't value it the same way that you do. And so if you are waiting for people to respect your time, your boundaries, your energy on their own, you're going to be waiting a really long time. You teach people how to treat you by not only putting the boundary in place, but also enforcing the boundary. So the next time, let's just say the next time your mom calls and you know what the phone call is going to turn into, you make a choice. Take a deep breath, smile, hit decline, and stay in your own energy. Your energy is yours. Her reactions are hers, and you don't have to deal with that. Let go of the guilt. Okay, let's actually talk about guilt for just a second, because guilt comes in when we believe we are doing something wrong. If you do not answer the phone every single time your mom calls, are you doing something wrong? No. So we get to let go of that guilt that comes along with that. You get to live your life, and we don't always have time to pick up the phone. I've actually had to do this with another family member, because anytime we get on the phone, we're on the phone for like 3 or 4 hours. We can discuss anything from the brain to behavior to all of it. And so I've really had to start deciding, and I have reverted to text messaging, which this person really sucks at texting back, but I really suck at calling back. So we just make it work, and we just know that, hey, if I text, it's probably going to be a few days before I get a response. And if he calls, it's probably going to be a few days before I decide when I have the time and space to be able to give him the full attention that I want to give. So you get to decide what really works. You get to decide where your priorities are. You get to protect your own energy and stop trying to live life keeping everybody else happy. You are not in trouble with anybody. Your energy is just your responsibility, so take care of it. And I will talk to you next time.